here are our ingredients that we're going to be using today to make our paratha roti. First, we've got our flour, and this is 3 cups of sifted all-purpose flour. Then we've got our baking powder. This is 1 teaspoon, and we've got 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 teaspoon of dried instant yeast. We've also got our 3 tablespoons of butter. This could be unsalted or salted, and a cup of milk, lukewarm, also additional water, 1 cup, lukewarm. Now we are going to add our baking powder. Again, we add the 1 teaspoon of baking powder. It's just about adding all your dry ingredients first and mixing everything together. So now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of brown sugar. You could add white sugar if you want, but the brown sugar just gives it a little bit more of flavor when you're actually mixing everything together. Now we're going to be adding 1 teaspoon of dried instant yeast. Then we add our 3 tablespoons of unsalted or salted butter. If you're wondering why this takes so much butter, it's because it's almost like making pastry. It gives the roti that really flaky texture. What I'm going to do now is just massage everything into the flour, making sure that everything is well incorporated. Well, now that you've seen your butter is well incorporated and all the other dried ingredients, it will be a bit grainy, which is exactly what you want. Now you make a well and start adding your milk slowly. If you don't use or don't want to use milk, you can just add lukewarm water, and that should be fine. The milk just gives it a bit more of a silkier texture and also a bit more richness. As you can see, everything is coming together and starting to stick together. Now you can add the last bit of the milk. What you're looking for in this is to have a really nice, sticky and supple texture. I'll just give it a good knead. As you can see, everything is coming together. I mean, I know it looks a bit sticky and wet, but if you want at this point also, you could add a little bit more flour. Now this you don't have to knead too much, as long as it all comes together in a nice ball. And as you can see, it doesn't need too much working on. And at this stage, you just cover it with a tea towel and leave it to rise.
Right, welcome to our 3rd virtual cook-up. It's all about rotis today. We had corn soup the first time, doubles the second time. Maybe you guys can decide what we're having next time. Just a couple of technical things in the beginning. Can you just please make sure that everybody is mute while Carrie-Anne is talking? If you have a question, you can either put it in the chat and her sous chef Niels will ask Carrie the question for you. Alternatively, you just unmute yourself and mute yourself once you've asked the question. Right, so has anybody not had rotis yet? Raise your hands. One person? Aaron, really? Wow, okay. Wow.
I'm shocked, Alex.
Does anybody know why a bus-up shot is called a bus-up shot? Raise your hands. 1, 2. Right. Well, I guess Carrie Ann will tell us all about that. She will tell us why it's called a bus-up shot, and maybe she can tell me why sometimes it's called bus-up shot with the U at the end, or sometimes with the O at the end. Today we're going to learn how to make the paratha roti and the aloo roti. So aloo means potato, but Carrie Ann will tell you all about that. You've prepared all your doughs and the potato filling that we need for the dough, and I guess all of you have prepared what you want to have inside your roti. And with that, I hand over to Carrie Ann. Let's cook.
Hello, everyone. And thank you so much, everyone, for participating today. Again, this is, it's so exciting to have all of you here, just, sharing this and, learning also different, different of like some of my cooking skills from back home. But I first want to say a big thank you to Soka Berlin again for organizing all of this and all the work that goes in the background, getting all you guys together and, also supporting me through this whole process. So big thank you to Alex and James. So yes, I will get started with the roti making. Today, compared to the other times that I've cooked with you guys, this is going to be more about technique. And it's going to be a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit of cooking, but more technique. Because roti making is more about technique and how you make the different rotis. I don't know, for all of you guys who have either been to the Caribbean or you've had Caribbean food, you would have seen there's been some like different kinds of rotis. Can I see your hands of people who have heard of dal puri? And yes. So you see that we have different variations of it. As you know, most of it comes from our Indian heritage. So a lot of the rotis that we have, they've got very similar versions of them from where they originated in India. And paratha, which even when you Google it and you see where the origins are from, we in Trinidad, we just changed it up a little bit, but it's basically the same thing. Paratha roti is, it's a lot of like the recipe that I gave you. It is just basically the dough, and it's quite similar to actually a dough that you would use for making bread. So with the paratha, as you can see here, I mean, most of you have put everything together, and as you can see, it's risen a little bit with all the yeast and all the baking powder and everything that's in it. So the paratha, the good thing about with the paratha is that it has, like I said, with the Indian heritage, it is made, I mean, the other name for it, is bus-up shot. And with the name bus-up shot, it comes from, as it sounds like, it's our slang for saying like, you burst your shirt open. So it's, I mean, I see Aaron agreeing with me there. And the reason for that is, like you notice in the recipe, we put a lot of butter. And I don't know if you've ever seen the recipes for pastry. Has anybody made pastry before? Yeah, and you see they put a lot of butter in it while they're massaging it into the flour. And that is because with the paratha, it gets really flaky. And it looks like if, like, when you actually beat it up after you've made it, it looks like if someone has actually just ripped it up. So that is how they get the name bus-up shot. So is that, I know it's quite a simple, like a simple analogy of it, but that's how they got the name for it. And the other roti that I'm going to be making is aloo puri. Aloo, as some of you might know already, it's also another name for potato. And puri is again another name for roti. So it's just roti filled with potato, and you roll it out and you cook it. So it becomes like a filling in the roti itself. And it's quite similar again to the dal puri, which is just ground dal, and it's put into the roti and again cooked, so it's a filling in the roti. Anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. So does everyone have you guys finished your side dish? Yeah? Okay. Okay, Michelle, almost. Okay, good.
Lena.
Yeah, Lena. That face looks really panicked, Lena.
Just again, hello everybody. If you have any questions, unmute yourself, ask, or type it in the chat and I will read it for everybody.
Can you just actually open the window?
Yes.
It's a bit warm in here. Sorry, I'm getting a bit overheated. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna get started. Right, so first of all, now, with the ingredients and the recipe that I gave you guys, it was, again, to make the dough, and to make the potato filling. So has everyone made the dough and the potato filling, or does anyone still have to make the potato filling? Lena? Okay, good. Well, Lena, with the, okay, well, I'll tell this to everyone
No,
anyway.
I'll follow you. I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, it doesn't take really long to make it anyway. So, you know, it's literally like mashed potatoes with the onions, with the garlic, with the like coriander and salt, and also some chili. And the cumin if you, well, of course you're not using but it's fine like this. So as you can see, I've really mashed this up, so it's really like a properly mashed potato, because it needs to be really smooth, and I'll tell you about that when I'm making them. So I'll just put this away for now. Okay, much better. Can I see? Oh no, sorry. No, this is good. Okay, everyone have their dough? Yeah, can I see it? Yeah, okay, great. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the dough and put it on your surface. Now, before you put it on your surface, just dust the surface with a little bit of flour so that it doesn't stick immediately to the surface. Right, as you can see, or can you see? Yeah. So this again, as you can feel by like just, you know, sticking your fingers in it, it's really, really soft. Can you see that? Yeah? Okay, great. Now again, you're not going to over knead this. You just want this to be in a round ball like this. And we're going to cut this into 4. Now I'm just going to smooth these out to make small balls. Right. I mean, I think you can actually feel the amount of butter in this. So I'm going to make these into 4 little balls. And if anyone has questions, don't hesitate to just ask, unmute and ask, or message Niels. Okay, right, you can see they're more or less the same size. Right, so now we are going to be making the paratha. So the first thing we do is you just kind of flatten them a little. As you can see, it's almost like making pizza. So you just flatten them a little and then you rest them down. So this is the part. Ugh. Get my rolling pin. So I'm just going to continue just to roll it with a bit of flour on. Maybe leave it there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to roll this out. Don't worry if it doesn't come out perfectly round. Right, so you can see that, right? Now, this is the other exciting part. We're gonna add more butter. I know it sounds like it's, you know, like we've added so much butter already, but again, this is just gonna give it more layers. So, I just take a little, I do this with my hands. Sometimes people just use they have their little basting brush and then they baste it. But I like to cook with my hands. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of butter and then I'm just gonna rub it onto the surface of the part that I've rolled out.
So Cabellen is asking how thick, I think, should it be?
I would say like half a centimeter.
Are you talking about the butter or the dough itself?
Oh God, I hope it's not a half centimeter of butter. We don't want to get a heart attack just yet.
I meant the dough.
I know you meant the dough. Right.
Well, let me give you a little more close-up.
Yes. So right, so you see that the butter, it's just like a thin film of butter on it. And this is another exciting part. So we make a little cut from the middle. Go straight down. So I'm taking my time and I'm showing you guys. So after you put the butter and you've made that little slit down the middle, we're going to start to roll. So we're going to roll. It should look like a cone. So you just keep rolling. Rolling. Right. So you should find at the end, it looks like a perfect cone. And this again is the interesting part. So you hold this up and you tuck it into the bottom part of it. So you see I'm tucking it in. And then you put it down and you just put it in like that. Did everybody see that? Don't worry when I do the other one. So again, it comes back into like a nice little round ball. Can everyone see with what's better, if Niels has the camera on me and my hands, or can you see from the screen? Missy, which is better? Can you see with Niels?
Okay, my camera.
Okay, great. So I'll focus on your camera then. Right, so that was one. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do this mega slow again. So I'm just gonna flatten this out a little. I'm gonna dust the surface. Now I'm just gonna put a little bit of flour on the rolling pin and again on the dough. And I'm just gonna roll this out to about half centimeter in width. Oh, thickness, just width. Right, so that should be a good size, right? Again, don't worry if it's not a perfectly round circle, that's fine. So again, I have my butter and I'm gonna just coat the surface. Again, we put this butter on and we roll it the way that we do just to again get it even more flaky. So that should be enough.
Mmm. Butter.
Okay, so this is again what you need to watch carefully. So I am going to make a slit from the center straight down to the end. Now I'm going to start rolling so it becomes the shape of a cone. So I'm gonna roll, 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 roll.
Maybe stop. Can everybody see it? Give me a thumbs up.
Okay,
All
yes.
right.
Don't worry if it's not absolutely perfect. You know, this is all a learning game and I don't think anyone gets it absolutely perfect all the time. So you see this part? Come a little bit over. Let me show that. So right, so I've rolled it up until this point and there's this little part that's sticking out. What we're going to do with this part is we're going to cover it over, but we're going to stick it in at the bottom. So you see that? We're sticking it in. We call it a tuck. So you tuck it in at the bottom and then you put this down and then you tuck in the top. Doesn't look very appealing, but this is sort of like the little roll that you're looking for. Everybody got that? Okay, great! Just load your volume down a little.
Yeah.
The recipe, because I didn't actually mention too, also with the recipe, the classic recipe of paratha, it wasn't something that they would normally put yeast in. And with the paratha, you can also use whole wheat flour because as you've noticed, this is really, obviously it's carbs and it's a lot of butter and fat. So there are healthier versions and they're actually gluten-free versions for those who you know, they want to make it, but they don't want to use the same, obviously, the flour, and they want to use gluten-free flour. This would also come out the same. Because again, with these types of rotis, you don't have to over knead it to activate the gluten. So even if you're using gluten-free flour, it's fine. And also, if you don't want to use milk, it's also fine. I just put milk in because it does give it a bit more of a luxurious texture and makes it a bit more rich. And it's some of the like old techniques we have like back home, but not everybody uses it. So water can be just as fine, I mean just great, and you don't need to do anything, you don't need to add any more. And use the same measurements with the water that you would have used for the milk. So any other questions about the rolling or the technique? Anybody?
Harry, do we have to make all four?
Yeah, because that's what I wanted, because when we start to cook, then we'll just be cooking, so we won't stop and start. So now I'm gonna move on to the...
If everybody has enough dough.
Hmm? You mean with the...
Yeah, for the Aloo.
Yeah, well they have two. These two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, because she was asking if they're making all four.
Yeah. Yeah. Alex, what did you mean? If we're making it now, we're making the paratha now and then.
I meant I have 4 balls, right?
Yes. So
And I don't have enough. I have dough for 4 bus-up shots. Like, do I
yeah,
have 4 bus-up shots?
what I was gonna do with this one is just make 2 bus-up shots so people can see, the example of the technique, and then I'm gonna take the other 2 and I'm gonna make the aloo puri with those. So in total today you should have like four rotis, but just 2 different types.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because like I
So
said,
we will end up with 2 of them basically.
yeah,
Okay, perfect.
So we have 2 balls like that.
yes,
Okay.
perfect. And this is the thing, that's what, like I was saying today, this is more about me sharing the technique, because even when I was so intimidated by making bus up shut for so many years that I didn't learn how to make it. And it was only a few years ago that my mom told me, she's like, no, it's not that hard, it's not that hard, because I thought with all the different techniques that I just showed you, it was going to be too complicated. But like you can see, once you know basically that you roll it out, once you have the dough and you roll it out, and then you add the butter and you make it into that cone shape, it's just about remembering that it's gonna be flaky. So the more layers that you put into it by actually rolling it into that cone shape and actually adding that butter, it's almost comparable to like a croissant. Because like when you roll the croissant and then it comes up really nice and fluffy, it's similar to that. I think that's the kind of experience they were hoping for when they decided to make bus up shut. So now I'm gonna be doing the potato roti, or also aloo puri. Now the recipe that I gave you was a recipe for not to confuse you, but it's the amount that I made with the in the recipe was actually for 4 rotis. So we'll use what we can today for the 2, and you can also freeze that and use it another time for when you make other rotis. So you can definitely save it and freeze it. So I'll show you how to make the aloo puri, and if you have any aloo left over or potato left over, you can freeze that if you don't want to, or you can actually eat it with the rotis today if you want. So we're gonna make the aloo puris now. Can I ask, is everything, I mean, can you guys understand the technique so far? Okay. Anybody? Okay, great. Because sometimes, like I said, I know I've been intimidated by it. So when I had to like learn, I was like, oh God, I always thought it would be so stressful, but it really is so simple. So as you can see, I've got
Missy said she already eat half of it.
Missy. But actually it smells so good, honestly. I mean, I think because I put so much garlic. This is one thing that you have to put a lot of seasoning. You've got to season this really nicely, because and you've noticed I didn't tell you to cook any of the like the onions or the garlic before you actually put it. Well, when you see how we put it in, we don't. Some people do cook the onions and the garlic. They might fry them and then add them to the potato. But I find, I mean, we've always done it like this, where we just add it into the potato, and once it's cooking in the roti, it's fine. It tastes just as delicious. So here I've got the aloo or potato, and
Let me turn on this camera.
yes. So I'm gonna go slow so everybody can see this. So again, I'm gonna just flatten this a little bit. But what I try to do with this is also make the edges a little bit thinner, like that. So, do you see that?
James, you want to change cameras?
Yeah. So, you see, it almost looks like I've made like a little cup. Now, I'm going to show you that again. So what I did was I just thinned the edges out a little, not too much, just so that I can have a little bit of a cup, because I want to put the potato in here. So now I'm just going to put a little bit of flour. Now putting the flour really helps so that the potato will stick nicely to the actual inside of it. And now I'm going to put the potato. So with this, and because of this size, I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons of potato. I know it seems like a lot. Do you see that? Right. Okay, so now that I've put the 2, this is another interesting little exercise. So now you've got to just hold the thin edges. You can make them even a little bit thinner if you want. And you're going to try to cover this, pinch everything in. So you see I'm taking my finger and I'm sticking that down. And I'm just folding everything in until you don't see any of that potato. Everyone see that? And now what I'm going to do is roll this into a nice round shape. And this is exactly what you would do for dal as well. Now for those of you who know about the dal puri, it's basically the yellow split peas or the yellow peas, and we grind it into almost a powder. So when it's in that powdered form, we add the same ingredients that we would put in the aloo puri or the potato. Same thing like the cumin and the garlic and the onion and the chilies. We'd add the same things and we would just do the same exact procedure that I just did. So I'm going to do another one, but again I'm going to go really slowly. Everyone okay so far? Thumbs up? Yeah? Okay, great. Right, so you have your round dough and you're going to thin the edges out. Again, like a little cup. You can even just stick it down a little bit. And it should fit really nicely in your palm. So now we're going to add a little bit of flour because you want that mixture to stick in there. And now you put the 2 tablespoons of your filling. I always try to get a lot in there because when I roll everything out, I want to taste that potato. So here we are. We're going to pinch everything in and try and get it in there. So keep sticking it down. Do the same thing with the other side. Right. And bring everything together like that. And there you go. And then you make this into a nice round shape. So right, now we have our 2 different kinds of roti. Okay, so you see I still have a lot of the filling. And again, like I said, if you don't want to have it, if you don't want to make more roti now and make it with it, you can just take it, freeze it, it'll be fine. So you can make it with other roti at another day. But like I said, this should have been, I mean, I always make a little bit of extra anyway, but this should have been enough for the 4 rotis. But it's not going to waste. So you put this to the side. Okay, now we are going to start our cooking process. You can put the music on. Make it slow.
Anybody, any questions?
How many of you have actually made something similar to this? Or you've seen, no?
Seen that, right?
Yeah. like I told you, I mean, all of this was a complete, I mean, I grew up with a lot of women making these things, and I think I could make the basic roti, but then when you see the amount of work that goes into this, you just think, oh God. I always thought it was too much work, but then learning to do it, I realized that it is quite easy. So it's something that, you know, you can make at any time. You can have it, you know, for lunch, you can have it for, I mean, we would actually have it the next day for breakfast. So we would actually just put it on a frying pan, put cheese on it, and it was like the best thing ever. So even tomorrow, if you have some left over, just throw it on the frying pan or even put it in the toaster, and you can have it with anything again. So it's just so easy to use. So everybody ready to cook? Okay. So I'm just gonna heat this pan up.
Carrie Ann,
Yeah?
is it better with the aloo pie to do it in a pan or on a tawa?
Well, it is. I mean, for those of you who are lucky enough to have a tawa, it's really easy on a tawa, because the difference with a tawa, it's thinner, and if you have a gas stove, which is direct fire, your rotis do cook a lot faster, because you just have to like just put them down and turn them over really quickly. They do cook a lot faster with a tawa. But because I think most people that I know in Europe, they just, you know, like with us, we've got this we've been using this one. It's quite a large frying pan. But if you notice, it's more of a non-stick pan. And I would actually encourage people to use the non-stick, because with the non-stick, it doesn't burn as fast, because we are going to be frying the rotis a bit. So if you're going to use a frying pan, and you don't have a tawa, then I would say use something that's a bit non-stick.
You know what a friend of mine, Adrian, told me, which is an amazing tool?
Yeah?
He moved to Germany and he wanted to eat roti all the time. He got a crab maker. Because that's non-stick and you can turn it on and then you use it.
You know, that is so true. I actually saw that the other day, where they were using the crepe maker, and I thought, you know, but this is so perfect for roti, because it's really thin, yeah. And you know, with us back home, we always have this big round, because a tawa actually just a round flat metal like iron instrument that we use for cooking roti, and it's, you know, it's something that you have forever because it just never dies. And you know, with a crepe maker, that is so perfect. Yeah, look at that. Oh, you have your own tawa. Good one, Sophie. Yeah.
Look, I got 2 pieces from a wedding.
Oh my.
This and this.
Wait, what cookbook is that? Is that the Naprima? She's got the right thing, Erin. She's got the right stuff. That is again, that I don't know for some reason how that became the Bible of all Caribbean food cooking. I mean, it's just so, it's such a popular, I think because it has mostly everything in it, like most of our local cuisine in it. So if you can get your hands on it and you want a good Caribbean cookbook, I would actually recommend that you get a Naparima. We'll put it in the link as well. A Naparima cookbook. Anyway, so I think this should be heating up nicely. Now, let me show you this. Oh. So here I've put some oil in a little bowl, and I've got a baster as well. So this is what I'm going to be using to put on the pan, or in the pan, and then I will be frying the roti with it. So again, I will show you the oil, because you've got to have this close by, and your baster. And you need something also to, you can just use like a wooden, any kind of wooden spoon, just to help, something that's preferably flat. And you can use this just to turn your rotis over. So you can have this close at hand.
Let me get around here.
Now again, I'm gonna go really slow for you guys so you can see how all of this happens. Just take this here now. That should be good. Okay.
Here we have our preheated pan.
Right. So now I'm going to put some more flour on the surface so my roti doesn't stick. And all you have to do here is just flatten it a bit. Now you can see this is a little bit of a technique. We always tend to do this. We always flatten the dough out with our fingers a little bit and then we just put it down. I guess it's true to kind of help keep that round shape, which I never seem to get right. So now I'm just going to roll it out. Now again, the thickness with this, I would say, is to look for that half of a centimeter thickness.
By the way, that's the one with the butter in it.
Yes, this is the paratha.
Yeah, James, that would answer your question.
Okay, so you see I've rolled everything out. Again, not the perfect round shape, but that's okay. So now we're going to move over to the stove so I can show you what we're going to do. So if you guys have a look at this before you do this with yours. Can you see everything?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of oil to the pan. The pan is quite hot right now, so this might happen a little fast. But let me just hold it over. Right. So I'm just going to add this oil. We usually just give it a good coating of oil because you want that roti to actually fry in that pan. So now that the oil is in there, I'm going to take the roti up. Just going to put this in nice and slowly. And you can hear that it's sizzling a little bit. So what we're going to wait for now is we're going to wait for it to get little bubbles, and you'll see that coming up just now.
Bubbles are coming.
The bubbles are usually a good sign that the underneath is cooking, and usually it cooks for I would say leave it for about a minute, maybe maximum minute and a half. But once you see the bubbles, now if you're not used to using this kind of heat and you see me putting my hand near everything, maybe you try and use the utensils because you can get burnt, and I don't want anyone to get burnt today. So you can use your little ladle. So we're just going to turn this over. Right. It's a little bit more well done than I would have liked it, and I'm going to add some more oil. Now I'm just going to flatten the edges a bit. This really makes sure that the edges actually cook, and you can start to see it swelling. Right, that is looking how we want it. And I need to get my, because this is where the action also happens. Right, so we're ready to take this out. As you can see on the other side, it's also cooked. So this is what we do. You fold that in half, and then you fold that in another half. And here's where the action comes in. You put that in, and then you hit it with the rolling pin. So if you have any frustrations all week, this is the best way to do it. And hit it again. Niels is lucky I'm not angry at him today. So, so as you can see, look at that. Soft, nice, fluffy. That is what you're looking for. And I'm sure Neil's gonna take a little pinch. Okay, so you just put that in your tea towel and you're ready to make the next one. Okay, you guys ready? Now don't worry, put the heat on low so you can take your time. You don't have to rush this. As long as you take your time and it doesn't burn, that's the most important thing. So I would say put your pan on a low heat so that it doesn't cook too quickly. It gives you enough time to roll your nice your roti out. Nice.
Any questions?
Yeah. God, Sophia's a pro girl.
Well, for somebody who has a tower.
She better be a pro. Lena, how you making out? Good, good, good. Kristen, you're okay, good. Anna and Cornelia, I feel I need to have a glass of wine, you know. I'm jealous. Both of you have your wine there and I'm jealous.
Well, over there.
Oh, sorry, is that rum and coke? Could that be rum and coke?
We started very early, so there's a lot to get up to.
You have to be able to eat some food, okay? You need to eat some food too. Oh, Didi, Muriel, you guys okay? Nice. Alex, I see you putting in some work there. Roll it, baby, roll it.
Didi, that's looking nice.
Yeah. Nice, Didi, that is it. That is it. Oh, God. Just give some to the child. I told you to save some for the child. Okay, we're going to make the next one. So y'all can have a look again. Right, so just flour your surface, flour your dough.
Turn up the music.
Turn up the music. Roll out your dough. Now remember, we're going for like a half of a centimeter thickness, eh? I mean, I could share with you guys that when I first made roti for Niels, he was like, you know, how come your roti not round? So I was like, because in Trinidad, we have a saying, if your roti isn't round, then you're not ready to get married yet. So ladies who are single, get your roti round.
Well, it's looking kind of round now.
3 years with the man and my roti finally looking a bit round. Okay, so now we're ready to cook. We just clean this pan out a little bit. We don't want anything to burn.
See, it's steamy.
Yeah, God, yeah, this one's a bit hot.
That's
So I'm
not low or medium heat.
Yeah, I realized it was still on a high. Okay, so I'm just gonna put the oil again. Coat that pan nice. That's what you're looking for. Right. And you throw your roti in. And this is where again you're waiting. After about a minute, you'll see that your bubbles are coming out. You see all the bubbles coming up now? Look at all of them. So let's just try and turn this because I do not want this to burn. And of course it was a little well done again, but... So again you have just put another bit of oil on it. And the same thing, press the edges down. As you can see, it's starting to swell again. That's what you're looking for. And it's ready now to come out. So again, just fold this in 4. Get your rolling pin ready. So that's what you're looking for, that nice soft texture. I mean, and this is going to be super buttery and super, like you could see how nice and flaky this is. One thing I also wanted to show you guys, they also use this.
Wait, give me a second.
Yeah, this is also what we call ghee. I think if any of you have heard of this before, this is like an Indian ingredient, and it's really clarified butter. And this is what they would normally put in instead of butter and use, because this again is just super, super rich. And obviously, you know, not the healthiest option, but this is something that they would normally use. So if you ever hear of ghee, it is something that a lot of Indian people and again people in Trinidad, they would use in making rotis and also some of their curries as well. But you know, with all of these things, you really do have to, I do need to remind people about, you know, try and look for healthier options.
James' mom in the background saying yes, yes, yep, to ghee, I think.
She know the thing, she know the thing. Right. Okay, who is ready for aloo puri?
Well, let us see how your roti looking so far.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Can I ask something?
Mm-hmm. What I know. No, sorry.
Can I leave it like this and eat it like, fill it up with the side dish like doubles? Is this still?
You can either put your stuff in, wrap it up.
Yeah.
But I would say, because look at mine. You see when you mash it up and it's that flaky, it's best just to have your side dish. Like you know, if you made like say maybe you know,
Chicken, yeah.
peas and potato, and you just have this on the side and you can just dip. Or,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
you want to use your fingers.
All right.
Get all in there.
Lena,
Oh wow, Lena! Nice!
time to mash it up.
Take some frustration out of that roti. Beat it up a little bit. Anybody have any other questions? Okay, good. So are we ready to move on to our potato roti? Yes. Okay, so now the ones that we made, the 2 that we made, so what I'm going to do is basically do the same thing that I did with the paratha. I'm just going to roll it out. But again, rolling this out, the technical part about that is you just got to be careful not to roll it too thin, because it has the filling in it. So what happens sometimes is when we roll them too thin, they might burst. And this is why I also say that when you're making it, you need to make it really smooth, so that if there's any like chunks or things that haven't broken down properly, it might burst the roti or might burst the like the surface of it. So I'll show you, but when I make the first one, like how thick I'm actually gonna make it. So it might be a little bit more than, might be something between half of a centimeter to maybe just a little bit before, you know, maybe like 3/4 of a centimeter. But I'll show you. So again, I just add some more flour. And this, like I said, you take your time. And here I am just rolling it out like that. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm trying to spread the filling out a bit. And you just take your time. You see the filling, you can start seeing it because it's becoming a bit more transparent. So again, just take your time. Move it to the edges because that's where you want it. Here, I'm going to turn it over. Just going to add a little bit more flour to the surface because I don't want it to stick. And I'm going to continue to roll this out slowly because you can see again, you'll see the potato starting to show in between the roti and the layer of roti. And even if it does pop a little, don't worry about it. I think everyone has had that problem when they've been rolling out roti with any kind of filling in it. As you can see again, it's not perfectly round, but that's okay.
And don't try to get it round.
Yeah, yeah.
Just go with how it is.
It's coming, yeah. Right, so you can see there, it's almost transparent. You can actually see like all the bits of potato, the ones that didn't completely break down. And it's got that kind of level of thickness where it's kind of in between, like sort of half and a whole centimeter. Right, so now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the paratha. I'm actually going to put the oil in so that it fries, and this too as well, you'll start seeing the bubbles coming up on it. So I'm going to add the oil now. I can actually go a bit slower now because the heat's a bit lower, so that's good. So now this is another tricky part. Watch carefully. You gotta like really be careful because sometimes it might stick to the bottom if it wasn't properly floured. So we're gonna go slow with this.
Careful.
Here I've only put oil in at the bottom when I put the roti on. I'm not going to use too much oil on this. This I will just use that one coating of oil on the pan to actually put the roti in initially. After that, no. This one I don't want it to be as oily as I would have made the paratha or the bus up shot. It's a bit slower this time because we've actually turned the heat down, but have a look out. What are you eating there, Missy? I saw that. Have you guys managed to put it on the stove, like in the pan? Everybody okay with that? Okay, good. Very good. You go, Anna. Also, you know, once you get used to this, you realize like once you have it on a certain heat, which is sort of like between low and medium, you can start rolling the other one out so that, you know, it's kind of like an assembly where you put one in and it cooks a little bit. And then in the meantime, you can roll the other one out. So you're not here for like 10 years making roti.
And if you want to make a lot of roti for a lot of people, it's always good to have like a sous chef or somebody that helps you.
Yes, that's always a good idea.
Missy's saying, what's the next step? Mine is done.
Oh my god, well, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, aloo roti done already.
And you cooked it on both sides, right? Great. Nice. So all you do is you put that in your tea towel and you cut them into squares. Why is this taking so long?
Well, somebody lowered the heat down too much.
Okay. This one didn't swell as much, so it's okay. Sometimes even with the potato, it doesn't swell as much. But I think the bottom is kind of, yeah, the bottom is cooked, so I'm going to turn it over.
Mmm.
And you just have to make sure, because of the thickness of it, that everything is cooked, because you don't want raw roti as well. So it's always good to just give the edges a little squish. And also this, I forgot to tell you guys, there's also something that we traditionally call a tabla. And it's usually like a long piece of wood, and this is what we use. We use two of them actually when we're making roti. That's what we really hit the roti with. Like we would hit the paratha with that, and we'd also use it when we're cooking roti. Well, that's still cooking. How's everybody else doing? Good.
Well, we're getting a new stove in a few days.
So true.
And don't worry, if it's not perfect, it will taste equally nice.
Yeah, mine kind of broke midway. So I'm just gonna take this out. But I want to show you guys something. Now if we get a little close up, you can see that everything is cooked inside. So you can see all the potato and everything is cooked.
And it's smelling nice.
And this, you just give it just cut it in half, or it doesn't come out exactly, you know, the way that you want it. Don't worry about it. As long as it tastes good, like I say, that's the most important thing. So now I'm gonna roll the other one out. So who needs another lesson on how to roll this out? So again, all you have to remember with this is that it's got a filling in it. So you've got to make sure and take your time and roll it out, because you don't want that filling to burst through, because you will notice that when you're rolling it out, the dough will become transparent and you will start to see the filling coming through. So just make sure you have enough flour and start rolling everything out. Right, you see how transparent this is? So now I'm going to put the oil in. Now, like I said, the difference with this and the paratha is I'm not going to use too much oil with this. I just want it to fry a little bit at the beginning. So here I'm just gonna easily try to take that up without bursting anything. And I'm gonna put this in. Nice. This one might actually... Cheers, everybody! Mmm. Ugh. How's everybody doing? Almost finished? Did y'all manage okay with the potato roti?
Martin.
Martin, bus style. You know, with most of my recipes, and I'm sure you guys have noticed, I do not use a lot of salt. So, you know, if you need to add a little bit more salt, or you think that it doesn't have enough salt in it, go ahead, add a bit more. But I always think, you know, with the rotis, that, you know, even if you don't add so much salt with them, whatever you're cooking or whatever your side dish is, then that's fine. You know, that can have the enough salt and you can use it. But it depends on you and how much salt you like. So now I'm going to turn it over. So again, you just squish the edges down a bit because you really just want to make sure that this cooks. That's the most important part. I mean, even if it is a little well done, the most important is that it's cooked.
Kat saying the baby loved the bum bum part. That means the slapping of the roti.
Yeah, of course. I think that's everybody's favorite. Right, so here we have our potato roti. Don't worry if this one's a bit more flaky, it's okay. And the best way to keep this nice, and because sometimes with roti too it dries out, so just keep it in a little tea towel, cover everything up. And like what I normally do, I would put it in, if you have a big bowl, I would say just put it in a bowl and then put a cover over it so it stays nice and moist. Because that's the first thing that happens to it. It gets really dry, especially at the edges. So the best thing to do is just keep everything covered. And again, this is something too you can freeze. So that's the other good thing. You can make your rotis, freeze them, and have them anytime you want. Any questions?
Martin.
Yeah. Everybody, oh nice, oh look how cute cats. Is that your mini roti? That's perfect. Just lower down a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are some little tidbits that I want to share with you guys about the roti making process too. Now, this recipe that I gave you for the paratha, if you also want to make the different kinds of roti, then the most important thing is to not put so much butter in it. So even if you're making the potato roti and you didn't want it as flaky, then all you have to do is just maybe half the amount of butter, and it'll be really it'll be a little bit more firm and not as flaky as the bus up shut or the paratha. So that's the only thing. And with the ingredients too, if you find that you're using wheat flour and it's not rising as much, I mean, Sophie showed me hers and she did it with wheat flour, and with the amount of yeast that I had in the recipe, I thought it may not rise as much, but it did. So again, that is something you can maybe work around. So if you think that by using like we have dinkel flour, and sometimes when I'm using that, which is the wheat flour, we tend to add a little bit more yeast. So instead of a teaspoon, I might just put a teaspoon and a half, and that gets it to raise a bit more. I mean, we never really used yeast in making roti years and years ago. People just use the baking powder. And I think too, because of our climate, obviously in a hot country with the moisture and everything else, things rise a lot more. But I think because a lot of women in recent years, they got so tired of waiting for it to rise, everyone kept just saying, you know what, I put a little bit of yeast in my flour. And I remember my mom and my aunt, and it was like a big secret, you know, how could you put yeast in your flour? You know, that's roti, it's not bread. But everybody's doing it. I mean, even now, everybody's putting yeast in doubles as well, just to get that nice, fluffy, easily manageable dough. So anyone have questions? And the thing about with roti, as you guys have seen, either you do it neat, and for those who've been to Trinidad, where you have your dal puri and you've got these other things that you fold everything in. I think Michelle had mentioned this before, where you can fold everything up nicely and take a bite. Also, you can just have it at the side as well. So it's a very hands-on kind of dish to have. So you've got to get your hands a little bit messy. Is it tasting nice, Lena? Nice. Did you make anything to eat with it?
Say it again, sorry?
I said, did you make a side dish to go with it, or are you just having the roti?
No, yeah, I made the side dish. I just didn't have the cumin, you know? And
Yeah.
added some carrots too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Even though it fell apart a little bit, it's tasting really nice.
Yeah. That's what I was saying, you know, even some people do, I mean, God, people have so many different recipes for this thing sometimes. But the one I chose is sort of like a basic, and you know what, all these recipes that I share with you guys, it's really about just having the core basic recipe, and then you guys can add different things. I mean, even if like doing more vegetarian food, I would actually maybe make lentils, like use lentils as a filling, so that it'll be like a lentil puri, you know? So, I mean, you can use like chickpeas, anything that you can grind down and you can put as a filling in, that's, you know, you can use that, and it should, you know, turn out really well. So, be adventurous.
I mean, mine came out good too.
Yeah, James, I think it's time to spotlight a few plates.
I think so too.
Ze zijn al... Dat is gemeen lach. Ze zijn al bezig met...
So I let them like this so the kids can cut them.
Oh wow, look at that.
And we have some curry chicken.
I'm glad Didi, you're a pro. Nice. Oh, nice, Lena. And that's the right kind of brown you want to get. You know, mine came out a little overdone with this the amount of heat I put on, but that is the right kind of brown. I mean, this is why with you guys too, this is why I suggested with the half of a centimeter thickness, so that you know that it will cook. And because you don't want, sometimes, I mean, I've had this growing up as a child. Oh, Missy, nice. God, you guys did a hell of a job. Oh my God, Michelle. Martin, where's yours?
Well, let's check it. Oh, Anna. Oh, they
Oh,
made a lot
my
of
God. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, yum, yum, yum.
You waiting for people to come?
Oh God. Just make sure and eat and before you drink again, okay? Did any, also with every, Alex.
Martin, time to show
Yeah, what's
off.
going on, Alex? You Okay, nice. You guys did so well. God, sometimes I wonder if I'm really, you know, making sense with these things. But did you guys understand? I mean, I know at the beginning, because sometimes it's a bit hard to digest everything, but did you guys find that the technique was easy to follow? Relatively easy to follow? So?
Was that a cake?
Oh, look how nice, Alex! God, Alex. Well done, you guys. Really, really well done. And the important thing is that it tastes good. Again, with the you know, you guys can, like I said, change the filling up, or, you know, if you can, you know.
I cannot show you this. I already ate everything.
That's okay. A clean plate is a good sign.
I just have pumpkin curry.
So, Aaron, I didn't see you cooking. What are you eating?
He's my watchful eye. Is that Cricks and tea? You son of a gun.
Yeah, I'm just accompanying Harry. I'm just watching and making sure everything is okay. But I wish I could taste everybody's food. It looks wonderful.
Yeah, I'm really, like, you know, impressed, honestly.
Coco's still making her roti?
I think she's making her curry. What you making there, Coco? You making the sweet potato?
Making my roti because remember I did my dough late.
Oh yes, I forgot she had
yeah.
to. You know, Coco actually said earlier about she was using sweet potato, and I actually forgot to say too. You know, even a different potato, you can use potato as also another option in this. Instead of just plain potato, you can use sweet potato as well. I mean, I think the possibilities are really endless once you have this kind of like a core basic recipe for how you want to make roti.
Muriel
You're
saying,
welcome, Muriel.
Yeah.
Enjoy, you guys enjoy the eating. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us.
Put in the Naparima link.
Yeah. Everybody looking like their belly full. Oh God. That's very good. I feel very grateful and honored.
Everybody's mouths are just moving. Bam, bam, bam.
I know, this is so good. I mean, I'm really grateful too because, oh God, okay. You want to see a bus up shot? Yeah, yeah, this is always, like I said, with roti, it can be, sometimes people might think it's a bit intimidating, but once you have the techniques and the things that I showed you guys with the paratha and how you can roll it with the, you know, into a cone and tuck it in, it is just about, you know, making things flaky and having things with filling. And, you know, and there's other, like there are two other types of roti that we have. I mean, well, one actually is sada roti, which is like a plain basic roti. It's like and it's really like a fast recipe as well. That's another one we have home.
It's like the bus up shot without
all the butter,
the layer of butter, and
even without all that butter. It's like that's like the basic of basic recipes. And we all know roti is not something, this kind of roti, we don't have it every day because we know the amount of oil and butter. And this is what I'm saying. If you know you make a lot, it's easy. Put them into little bags, freeze them. And then, you know, when you make your, whatever you decide that you want as a side dish, or even, like I said, I mean, our classic thing was, you know, throw it on the tower or the frying pan, put your cheese on it, or just have it with butter and a cup of tea, and as we say in England, Bob's your uncle. So. You finished there, Alex?
come, show off, show off.
Yeah, I didn't see yours. You know, you're usually the first one to finish. Nice. Well, I want to say now too, I just want to really say a huge, huge thank you to all of you for just joining me today. You know, it sometimes just, like I say again, having these opportunities to just share this kind of knowledge, but also to see you guys making these things, honestly, it just is so, it's really just life affirming for me, really, that I can actually share these things with other people, especially during this time, and with all these, you know, Zooms and everything else that we're having to do so much stuff on now. And it's also for me a great opportunity to see so many of you that I miss very dearly. I really wish I could see you guys very soon at some kind of event, but because goodness knows this waist needs to be walked. Oh God, getting too stiff in my old age. But I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Oh God, I mean. And again, a huge thank you to Circa Berlin for always organizing these things so well. Thank you, James and Alex.